Hola y bienvenido a otro video. Bueno, en este video vamos a hablar sobre los comparativos en español. Okay, so the comparatives in Spanish are basically a structure that we use to describe things or describe people, and this is equivalent to the ER in English. So let's get into it. So, ¿qué son los comparativos? What are the comparatives? Now, in Spanish, we use comparatives to establish a relationship between two things, people, or ideas. Now, we have three types of comparison that we made, or that we make rather, would be superiority, which shows something is greater than or more than, inferiority, which is less than, and then, of course, equality, that something is equal, it's just as something as. Now, in English, it's important to know there's a slight difference or distinction. In English, we usually use er, which is a suffix that we attach to the end of a word, or in the superlative form, which we will discuss in another video, we use est. Now, sometimes if we don't use er, we use more. For example, more expensive than, and in Spanish, this does not take place. We don't have a suffix that we attach to the word itself. Instead, there's a structure. So when we look at superiority, this basically tells us that something is bigger than, something is more than. And the structure is mass plus an adjective plus K, which literally means more something than. So again, we don't have that bigger, or we don't have that ER being attached. So it's just simply mass adjective K. So I have some examples here and we can go through them. Juan es más alto que Pedro. Juan is taller than Pedro. So notice the English is taller, but in Spanish is más alto que. So it's like literally saying more tall than. El perro es más rápido que el gato. The dog is faster than the cat. Mi casa es más grande que la tuya. My house is bigger than yours. Now, the word grande here is important, and you need to know this because grande will appear in a lesson later down, and you're going to see it's going to change. Now, grande here is used because we are describing the size of something, the physical size of something, or the shape of something. All right, so when you're describing the size or the shape of something, we can use grande as in big. Ella es más inteligente que su hermano, so she is smarter than her brother. Este libro es más caro que el otro. This book is more expensive than the other one. So here you're seeing a literal translation, more expensive than. Estas manzanas son más dulces que las verdes. So these apples are sweeter than the green ones. Now, if you didn't see it already, you're going to notice that these things agree in gender and number. So Juan, we use alto. El perro, rápido. Now, grande is a neutral adjective, so you're not really seeing a change there for casa. So is inteligente. Libro, carro. But then, perfect example, you're seeing manzanas where it changes to the plural form, dulces. As I show you other examples, you would see how gender and number takes effect. So let's talk about inferiority, where you say that something is less than something. So again, the basic structure, menos plus the adjective plus que. Pedro es menos alto que Juan. So Pedro is less tall than Juan. Okay, so in English, we'd usually say he's shorter than. So that's the difference here, as you're seeing, menos alto que. La tortuga es menos rápida que la liebre. Now, perfect example, you're seeing the tortoise is slower than the hare, and here is you're actually seeing tortuga agrees with rápida. Mi coche es menos moderno que el tuyo. My car is less modern than yours. El café está menos caliente que el té. The coffee is less hot than the tea. Estos zapatos son menos cómodos que los viejos. And again, you're seeing cómodos to agree with zapatos. So these shoes are less comfortable than the old ones. Su voz es menos fuerte que la mía. His voice is less loud than mine. So there's slight differences when we make a comparison between English and Spanish and the translation. Now we're going to look at equality. So we use the structure tan plus the adjective plus como, which literally means as something as. Ana es tan alta como María. So Ana is tall as Maria. Again, alta because you're referring to Ana. El gato es tan dormilón como el perro. So the cat is as sleepy as the dog. Mi coche es tan rápido como el tuyo. So my car is as fast as yours. Esta película es tan larga como la anterior. So this movie is long as the previous one. Juan es tan simpático como su padre. Juan is as nice as his father. And el agua está tan fría como el hielo. The water is as cool as ice. So this shows equality. Moving on now, when we are dealing with nouns, so just to reiterate, what we did there, or what we discussed, would have been adjectives. Everything is adjective there. Big, grande, inteligente, intelligent, rápido, fast, bonito, another adjective. So we use adjective to describe, shorter, taller, more expensive, etc. But what if we want to talk about nouns? What if we want to show equality when it comes to nouns? And I just want to insert this lesson here because sometimes we want to say these things and we don't know how to do that. So we have the structure tanto, which can change to tanta, tantos, tantas. Now, the reason why they are changing is because they agree with a noun. As you can see, the structure plus a noun plus como. So tanto must agree in gender and in number with the noun it modifies. So what it basically refers to here is saying as much as or as many as. Now in English, we know that there's a difference between much and many in terms of, a noun being countable and uncountable. But in Spanish, we don't really look at that here. What we look at is just the gender of the noun itself and the number of the noun. So, for example, tengo tanto dinero como tú. I have as much money as you. Ella tiene tanta paciencia como un santo. She has as much patience as a saint. So you're seeing dinero, you're seeing paciencia. These are nouns and agree tanto dinero, tanta paciencia. And now you're seeing hay tantos libros como estantes. There are as many books as shelves. So tantos libros como. So tantos agrees with libros. Compré tantas flores como pude. I bought as many flowers as I could. Again, tantas flores. Tenemos tantos amigos como ellos. We have as many friends as they do, right? Tantos amigos. Y no hay tanta gente como ayer. There isn't as much people as yesterday. So again, tanta with gente. So I hope that this helps you understand how we make comparison. Well, not really a comparison, but as you're seeing, it shows equality when it comes to nouns. So we have some irregulars, as with everything else. Bueno changes to mejor. So bueno means good, and in English we don't say gooder, we say better. And bad, we don't say badder, we say worse. So here you're seeing mejor and peor. ¿Ok? El chocolate es mejor que la vanilla. So chocolate is better than vanilla. Mejor que. El chocolate es mejor que. It's better than. Esta película es peor que la primera. This movie is worse than the first one. So, peor que, worse than. Cocinas mejor que yo. So, again, you could use this with verbs as well. You cook better than I do. Cocinas, you cook mejor que, better than yo. El clima hoy es peor que ayer. The weather today is worse than yesterday. Tus notas son mejores que las mías. Your grades are better than mine. And este restaurante es peor que el otro. This restaurant is worse than the other one. So you're seeing the comparison of better and worse. And of course, like I said, it's irregular. Now we have mayor y menor, and this is used with mostly people. So here you're going to see, for example, mi hermano es mayor que yo. My brother is older than me. Soy menor que mi hermana. I am younger than my sister. But now you're seeing tu casa es mayor que la mía. Your house is bigger than mine. And why? Why am I not saying grande as opposed to the first example that I gave to you? In this case, it doesn't refer to size, but actually refers to the age of the house. So this house is actually greater than, or in quality, it's actually older than. All right. So the English is a bit off. Your house is bigger than mine, but it actually means my house is really older. Or your house is older. As you can see there as well, viejo or grande, right? Viejo means old and it becomes mayor, and joven o pequeño means small and it means menor. So grande, más grande que would refer to the size of it, and mayor que more or less refer to the age of it. Mi habitación es menor que la tuya. My house, sorry, my room is smaller than yours. El abuelo es mayor que el nieto. The grandfather is older than the grandson. El bebé es menor que el niño. The baby is older than the boy. So we have the irregulars here. Now, like I mentioned before, adjectives must agree in gender and number of the first noun that is mentioned, which you saw in the explanations. This is a summary of everything we just looked at. So for superiority, más adjective que, more than or er. For inferiority, menos adjective que, less than. Equality, tan adjective como, as something as. When we're talking about the quantity of nouns, we use tanto, which can change, and noun plus como, and then better words, mejor que, peor que, older, younger, mayor que, and menor que. So I do hope that this helps. Now, if we look at it an example, in mi opinión, viajar en el tren es más cómodo que viajar en avión, pero es menos barato. En mi opinión, viajar en tren es más cómodo que viajar en autobús, pero es menos barato. So here you're seeing, in my opinion, traveling in train is more comfortable than traveling in bus, but it is less expensive. If you have any questions or you need clarification on something, you can leave it in the comments and I will address it. Until our next video, adios.